Today I'm reviewing these headphones right here. These are the Moondrop Edge Bluetooth headphones. Let's get it. What's cracking, audio fans? David here from Prime Audio Reviews. So Moondrop is moving in to the wireless full-size headphone space now. We've seen a few TWS earbud models come out from the brand so far, which are all pretty decent. Now we've got the Edge here. I like this design. It looks pretty sleek. It's available in this grey and a white version. I like the nice angular flat surfaces. I think it looks unique and pretty slick overall. So these are coming in at a price of $89 US. We're looking at Bluetooth 5.4. They've got active noise cancelling with also an ambient mode and a 40mm beryllium coated dynamic driver. That's what the outside looks like. Pretty cool. This is plastic, and but the yokes are aluminium. They feel nice and sturdy, and this is a foldable headphone too, so it's nice and easy to store away if you're traveling or putting in a bag, etc. And they also rotate like that. So yeah, in terms of build quality, they're really nice actually. We've got fabric on top of the headband, nice padding underneath, memory foam ear pads which are nice and plush, reasonably large, especially in terms of height. When it comes to battery life, we're looking at about 48 hours. I'm not sure if that's with the ANC on or off, but it's pretty decent anyway. Not class leading, but good enough. These supposedly, I believe they're supposed to support LDAC. Let me just check here. Yeah, it says LDAC in the marketing, but I actually wasn't able to find anywhere to enable LDAC, neither in my phone settings or in the Moondrop Link app. So yes, there is an app available. The app has 5 preset EQ modes, and that's about all it does. Or it lets you choose your ANC mode via there as well, but you might as well just use the dedicated button on the ear cup here, mentioning the button. So that's the ANC mode button. Then you've got your standard playback controls here. However, for some strange reason, volume up is the bottom button. So when you're wearing them normally like this, the volume up is the bottom button on the bottom, and obviously the volume down is the up button. Go figure. So the build feels good. They're nice and comfortable. Design, well, that's going to be subjective, obviously, but I think they look really cool. So with that said, let's just dive right into the sound. So these go for pretty much a balanced sound signature. They're trying to be transparent and balanced and high fidelity. It sort of sets these apart from a lot of the bass heavy tuning standard that you find in a lot of budget Bluetooth headphones. One of those EQ presets is bass or extra bass, and even with that engaged, you're not getting a lot of low end. There is enough. I find it satisfying enough in terms of quantity in the bass. As far as the other preset EQs, none of them really work for me. They all sound a bit janky, but the bass EQ works quite well. It only really lifts the sub bass shelf a little bit and the mid bass just a touch, but it doesn't destroy the overall presentation. And speaking of that overall presentation, yeah, pretty spacious sound. Vocals are notably forward and clear. The upper mids though, they can verge on shoutiness depending on the recording. So every now and then, certain vocals and certain upper mid-range instruments, they do sound a little bit bright and harsh. The mid-range in general is slightly lean in terms of note size, and the overall resolution is pretty decent. It's not outstanding. It's not better than any others that I've tried in this price range. It might even be less than some, to be honest. And then when we get to the treble is standard Bluetooth style. It is laid back and smooth. contributes to a sound that's easy to engage with over extended periods or long listening sessions. But of course, that kind of relaxed treble tuning comes at the expense of detail retrieval, which is only fairly mediocre here, and will likely leave detail-oriented listeners wanting a bit more. So the soundstage has got pretty good dimensions, especially in terms of width, and that's largely due to the leanness of the mid-range and the sort of slightly restrained quantity of the bass. It's not really boosted any by the treble because, like I said, the treble is reasonably laid back. But overall, the tuning prioritizes clarity and balance, which makes it good for people who like a more neutral sound profile. We're kind of not straying too far away from that Moondrop target, the VDSF. But in my opinion, that sort of target response works better for their IEMs than it does for their headphones. Your mileage may vary, but I'm going to do a couple of comparisons now, and I'm going to start with the SoundPeats Space here. Now the Space is a little bit cheaper. It's coming in at $79, so it's $10 cheaper. And this one has an outstanding battery life. Oh, wait, I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's come back to this for a sec. I want to talk about the ANC. The ANC works pretty well. It is not as good as some of the others in its price range. And on top of that, when you activate the ANC, it also introduces a little bit of a background hiss, an audible background hiss. So I was pretty disappointed with that. Moondrop, you're supposed to be all about high fidelity. You got to get on top of that if you want to appease the audiophiles out there. Anyway, let's come back to the Space here. So $79, also foldable. The battery life is better on the Space. You're looking at pretty outstanding 65 hours with ANC on, and an unbelievable 123 hours with the ANC turned off. In addition to that, the active noise cancelling on the SoundPeats Space is better than it is on the Edge. It doesn't have any background hiss, and I found it blocks out external noises better than the Edge does. And then in terms of sound quality, the SoundPeats Space has got a little bit more body in the mids. It's not overdone. It's not one of those, really bass heavy budget headphones. It's actually quite balanced in its sound signature. In addition to that, the SoundPeats app gives you more preset EQ options, and more of those options are actually viable. They don't have these really weird tunings like the Edge does. And the SoundPeats Space also has a custom EQ. So yeah, it's doing a lot of things better than the Edge really. In terms of comfort, I would say they are roughly the same, but overall, especially considering they are slightly cheaper, I definitely cast my vote on the SoundPeats Space as the better one. And then take this next comparison with a grain of salt, because I've only just had a brief listen to the Kiwi Ears Ardor here. These ones are coming in at the same price. I like the design, pretty much the same in terms of comfort. Ear cups are slightly smaller though, got nice memory foam there. Now there's no app available as far as I know for these ones, but in terms of the out of the box sound signature, these are the warmest of the three that I've talked about today. I actually prefer the sound of the Ardor over the Edge as well. So yeah, for my personal ranking, I would put this third out of the three, but that's just me. Maybe that's just my personal preference. However, I think, as I said, the resolution is pretty average. The ANC is meh. I'm also not really a fan of the sort of childlike anime voice prompts that you get inside of here, like hey and she and power on. It just sounds, it's a little bit silly. Maybe the younger folks out there will appreciate that, but for me, I'm really not a fan of that. So at the end of the day, what do I have to say about the Moondrop Edge? I'd say it's decent. If you're a Moondrop fan, yeah, sure, go ahead. I do love the memory foam on these earpads. That's nice and soft and comfortable. The earphones in general are comfortable. The clamping force is not too bad. The overall build quality is nice. I love the aesthetic. They sound pretty good, but not outstanding. And yeah, I'm just going to leave it at that. So thanks for watching the video. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. Pa Family Audiophile Style. If you're new here, hey, hit that subscribe button before you go. And until next time, I'll see you later.